always hear these misconceptions about the super team era for the last decade, and I always try to be the gentleman to clean it up, right? I am unbiased. Y'all know I'm a Los Angeles Lakers fanatic, but keep in mind, I try to remain unbiased to my position as possible. I even try to let y'all know when a little bit of bias happens with me because I'm human. But again, my job is to give it to you guys straight. So, obviously, we understand that right now we're in the super duper team era with the Brooklyn Nets right now, and the super team era now with the new formed LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Andre Drummond-led Big Three in Los Angeles. A lot of dynamic duos throughout the league, but those two teams have separated themselves as one having a super team, and now we got the Brooklyn Nets. They got a super duper team. But I want to clarify how we got to this point for this era. I can't speak about the 80s. I wasn't around. I was born in 94. I'm only 27. But I can tell y'all how we got to this spot because I lived it. Everybody wants to bring up 2007, 2008, the Boston Celtics getting together. Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen joining forces to become the Boston Three-Party. Celtics went on to get a championship. They were competitive for a few years. They were tough. Beat up on LeBron James, the Cavaliers, a couple times. So I want to make this clear. Kevin Garnett never wanted to be on the Boston Celtics. As a matter of fact, he didn't want to leave that poor Minnesota Timberwolves team that he was on. So I hate hearing people try to say KG and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen wanted to make it unbalanced. If you're going to blame someone, blame the Celtics organization for trying to create a Big Three. But don't go blame Paul Pierce, KG, and Ray Allen. They didn't even ask for that. They obviously wanted to be in better situations, but Ray was leaving Seattle. KG was unhappy in Minnesota, but he was willing to stay there. And then obviously with Paul Pierce, he was unhappy. Boston was awful at the time under Doc Rivers. Doc was about to lose his job. Stop it. That's not the same. A GM, if Danny Ainge, are they not supposed to make the best moves for the Celtics team? Is that not what they're supposed to do? I'm not blaming them for putting that Big Three together. Hell, if teams are going to trade you good to great players, what are you supposed to do? If it works under the cap, why not? So we fast forward to 2010. To me, this is the real start of the player-made super teams. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade get together. Initially, the plan was to have Carmelo Anthony join them for a Big Three. They talked about it at the Olympics games a couple years in the past. But Melo signed a longer extension in Denver, and it made him unavailable at the time of free agency when LeBron and D-Wade would be free. You want to know what was the next best thing out of that draft class? A scoring and rebounding machine from Toronto and Chris Bosh. They get together. They plan this out. Obviously, if you remember the dynamics of it, Dwayne Wade re-signed with Miami. Chris Bosh, the same day, announced that he was signing in Miami. They left the door open for the next day. LeBron made his decision on ESPN that he'd be taking his talent to South Beach. That was a player-planned Big Three. Fast forward, the Cleveland Cavaliers come back from 3 games to 1, and they beat the Golden State Warriors in the 16 NBA Finals. Draymond Green allegedly says, yo, KD, Bron and Kyrie beat me. We need some help. We just beat y'all round before. How about we put our differences to the side? Let's do it together for a couple years. Let's take down LeBron. We get the Big Three. Some call it a Big Four in Golden State, which to me was the best team ever assembled. The one that was the most unstoppable one. That is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, KD, Draymond, and just swap out the center of your choosing in Golden State. Okay. To me, going into this year, coming out of the Kevin Durant Golden State era, what made me so excited was we were down to the big twos. Last year, we saw a lot of teams. Year before last, we saw a lot of guys join one guy. We had Kawhi and PG, LeBron and AD. We had Steph and Clay. I mean, just look around the league. We had left the Big Three era, and we were down to dynamic duos. Excited was I. KD and Kyrie was also a big two. KD coming back from injury. The Nets look good to start the season. What happens? Harden starts pouting in Houston. To be fair to KD, I don't even know if he asked for Harden. The opportunity just kind of presented itself, similar to like how that Boston Celtics Big Three got together. It wasn't like this was this plan, from what I know, for Harden to pout his way into Brooklyn from KD's perspective. Now, could this have been Harden's plan? Maybe. I don't believe KD had anything to do with it. I don't believe that. We get the Big Three in Brooklyn, top of 2021. And obviously now we got Blake and LaMarcus Aldridge in the mix. I just want to bring some clarity to this situation. In my humble opinion, LeBron James was the guy that kicked off the Big Three era for this generation. The reason behind it, because his plan was to unbalance the NBA. It was not to just get some help. Because to me, would have been the more respectable thing. LeBron said Chris Bosh didn't want to come join him in Cleveland. If he really were about the competitive nature of the league, I would have respected if LeBron and Chris Bosh would have went somewhere else, not named Miami, and played together as a dynamic duo. And I believe LeBron and Chris Bosh together could have taken down, with some great role players, could have taken down that Boston Celtics Big Three, made it to the finals, and won a championship. I didn't think it took 3 stars. I thought that was, in his mind, LeBron James trying to unbalance the power in the NBA. And the thing we've learned about this Big Three era is that every time LeBron tries to unbalance things, somebody comes with a smarter plan. It was Kevin Durant joining Golden State. Now it's James Harden joining Brooklyn. And once again, we look up and say, damn, LeBron tried to unbalance the thing, because let's not forget, 2 off seasons ago, LeBron wanted Kawhi, which once again would have unbalanced the NBA. LeBron wanted Paul George and AD, which would have unbalanced the NBA. LeBron has tried to unbalance the NBA, but every time he does it, somebody comes with a smarter plan, a la this time around the Brooklyn Nets. Catch full new episodes of FERRO's music-based platform every day only on YouTube at It's Mr.Taliaferro. You can also find clips, updates, giveaways, and more on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, also at It's Mr.Taliaferro. For all basketball fans, make sure you tune in to FERRO's daily highlights, reports, and commentary on YouTube at HoopsFERRO, and even more updates on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at HoopsFERRO as well.